Hello.
Hey, let me get us on screen here because this is rough. All right.
Yeah.
This is absolutely awful. All right. So, how's it going, man? We appreciate you coming onto the show and dealing with all the issues that I'm currently dealing with. But thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
And you did, you finished. I think you just missed out on the finals. Did pretty well in Mexico City.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag in Mexico City. I'm not very happy with a few things. I don't want to come across too salty, but I think things need to change in the Forza RC. I think it's whether it's the game itself, which is a big one in my opinion. The game isn't designed to be used as an esport. There's so many features that are missing from the game that other games have. It would make it so much better and so much easier to use.
So what kind of improvements would you want to see? Like, especially from your perspective, it's really important that, people know like what those kind of things are.
Well, like just for example, when you're watching the stream, you'll see someone switch to a camera view which shows you a paint job of the car that you're watching, and that's rubbish. I don't care about that. Like, the paint job looks fantastic, but I don't care. I want to see the action. I want to see what's going on. And then also, on that point again, you'll be watching a great battle between two people, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to first place, and they'll just be on their own. And it's just rubbish to watch. You don't care about it. Well, I don't. I want to see good racing, and you don't want to see a car on its own, do you? Doing nothing.
Or even just two cars lapping close by each other. It's not exciting. And we've brought this up before as well. Like, we've taken a quick stab at YMTV every now and then, saying that the camera angles and their focus, what they're focusing on, is not always the optimum thing to be doing. But it's, I don't know. I mean, the camera angles should be something that they should really fix early on. I don't think that should be too difficult, but
yeah, that's one of the things that we've talked about is the camera angles and thing. And like, I don't think it's at the forefront of the issues because like apparently they have a bunch of other stuff that they need to be working on.
No, there's a lot of
which is the sad part about it. Yeah, which is the sad part about it because the camera angles, watching it is half the battle, and it should be one of the main things, but it's not.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the first game where they've really taken it seriously. Like, the other motorsports were good, but it seemed like they just sort of kind of were making more of a video game and less of a sim. But now they're kind of leaning the other way because they have Horizon, and I kind of feel like that's a good thing for motorsport. They're going to pick up a lot of more serious sort of angles, I guess. We talked about it a while ago on another episode where we thought that GT Sport, Assetto Corsa, and Project Cars all had really fantastic replay footage and angles, and it really should be a bit closer. But
yeah, what I don't understand is, it's say they're going down a simulation path, then why don't they just copy real life? You watch a race around a track. You've got cameras on certain corners. They've got the telemetry or whatever you want to call it, the heads-up display that they've got to give you all the information is what you want to know. You get to see the action. If you miss any action, there's a replay. You get to watch it. Why don't they just do that? Why have they got to create their own system, which, quite frankly, is not good enough? Like, that's what I don't understand.
It's far,
You
it's
watch
really off par.
Like, you watch what GT Sport has with the camera angles, and it just looks so realistic and so good. Like, I've been saying this for a while. Like, just put the cameras where the cameras are on TV in real life.
Yeah.
Just all you have to do is set them there. Just set them in the spot where they are.
That's what they literally did for GT Sport. Is they went to the tracks and mapped where the cameras would be put, and I think they must have talked to some camera guys. They're like, "Hey, when you film this, what do you look for?"
Yeah.
And so they've really captured that realistic essence from watching it. It feels like real life. Like, it's almost indistinguishable.
And the quality is incredible as well, and the quality of racing as well is second to none in terms of GT Sport. And like I said, if you guys haven't seen Force0ne, go to Force0ne's Twitter. He posted a link to a World Finals, like a World Championship with a bunch of different stuff for GT Sport.
World Tour.
With different countries, World Tour, sorry. Watch that. Just look at the camera angles. You pay attention to the draft. You guys can see all the different kinds of things that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. And it's a level up from what Forza's doing right now.
And the live penalties was really cool. And something that I'd like to see in Forza is live penalty system.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Daveyskills? That's something I would like to see as well.
What I've said is whatever the decision is with the penalties, it needs to be consistent. They need to get it in the game. They need to implement it as part of the game, so that even if you think it's wrong, you know if you do this, it will penalize you. So then people will stop doing it. Whereas at the moment, you've got people from Gfinity all watching everyone's point of view, and then a head marshal making a final decision, and 10 people can view the same incident and come out with 10 different conclusions. It's not consistent. The rules are there saying don't cut, don't crash, don't do this, don't do that. But people do it and get away with it all the time. And whenever you've got a problem, whenever you raise anything with one of the marshals, they either don't have the information to hand, or they say, we don't want to penalize you guys. And that's their response effectively. So that says to me, you can just get away with doing anything.
Yeah, I mean that's a possible solution to what we saw with Laige diving box there. Just didn't want to penalize because just a bit of a racing incident. We'll just brush it off. And similar with Force0ne and you, that crash on the Bathurst there seemed a little bit like that as well.
I mean, it's just that the fact that Laige didn't get a penalty. Like I like Laige. Laige is I'd consider him a close friend when it comes to Forza. The fact that he didn't get a penalty for that is the biggest joke I have ever seen. It's just ridiculous.
It was
I don't understand.
Insane.
I think even he agrees with that statement.
Yeah.
I think he did actually say in an interview afterwards. I think he said I deserved a penalty. I didn't catch the interview itself, but I think he said something like that. I think Box said something about he deserved a penalty for him dive-bombing Zoom as well, which he did end up getting a penalty for, obviously. But you're seeing it on screen right now. I mean, a lot of these guys, I mean, that's just, I don't understand how that's not a penalty. I mean, that boggles my mind.
Yeah, me as well. I'm stumped. I'd like to speak to the marshal that made the call not to give the penalty and be like, dude, what were you thinking?
Yeah, but the other thing I want to talk to you about was your incident with Force0ne, and he said that you guys are good now, and obviously I'm assuming everything's fine with you guys, but he chalked it up to be a racing incident. He said that maybe he should have gotten a penalty even though he didn't. What was your take on it? Is there anything you could have done? And what was your perspective on the whole thing? I know you wanted to hear his side of it as well on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I have two options. I either try and overtake the car that's going slower because they've made a mistake, or I slow down and put myself under even more pressure from Force0ne's teammate. So, I'm because he's made a mistake, I'm not gonna stop racing. In my mind, I've got the racing line. He's outbroken himself going into turn 2. He's re-entering the track at a slower pace, and I don't understand how cannot be his fault. And I've told him this, and when I was on stage, I was sat there was one person in between me and Force0ne, and I was very open with how I felt about it. I lost my head, and I just think I just think it's ridiculous that it can be viewed as a racing incident. In my opinion, when you watch it back on the replay cameras, it doesn't look that bad, but when you're there, my car was sliding all the way through that corner because of the contact we had, and then you guys play the game. You know what a sim twitch is like. Yeah. When you get a sim twitch in a car like that with no traction control, it's game over. You do very well to save it. and I didn't save it, and I hit the wall. And because Forza is a game that doesn't work in halves, you either get 100% damage or 0% damage. I got 100% damage, and my race was done. And there's just no consequence for Force0ne other than he gets the point.
I mean, he agrees that he should have gotten a penalty for that. Like, in his eyes, that's like, okay, he made contact with you. And like you said, if there was like inbuilt game penalties where it's like you make contact with anything, you will get penalized.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if you've ever seen iRacing. They have a really good system where, so you see, like, even if somebody
I've played iRacing many times. It works, man. It works.
Yeah, the system that is fantastic. Like, even if you spin out in front of somebody, and somebody spins out in front of you, and you hit them, you will get like an X or 3X, I think. And if you spin out and lose control of your car, you get penalized.
Yeah. And it's not a perfect system on iRacing, but everyone understands it and everyone abides by those rules. So it works.
And having watched a bunch of races and been in a couple myself, the racing's actually really good. Like, everyone's very fair, very clean. Like, there's not really too many incidents, unless you're in rookies or something like that. But yeah.
But
I think a penalty system that's game built and just, there's no, it could have been a penalty, it shouldn't have been a penalty. It either is or it isn't. I think you're right. If it should be black and white, and that way people know what they can and can't do, and that'll just keep it very clean and fair.
Yeah, especially when there's money on the line, and
absolutely.
What some people fail to realize is that these people who are making their decisions, they're getting these free trips to Mexico City, and they're still getting paid to be there, regardless of whether they make a right decision or a wrong decision. Whereas someone like myself, if I'm on the end of a wrong decision, I don't get paid to be there. I've just wasted my time and my money to get there. It's it.
The other thing was, I think that was the incident that's put him through and you not to the finals. I think that was a separating difference in terms of points, wasn't it? Because you were just on the outside.
To be honest, the next two races after that were nightmares for me as well.
Really?
The race where Force0ne made the comeback from last to fourth place, I was in 10th, I don't know, 10th, 9th, something like that to start with, and I got taken out at the end of lap 1, just completely taken out. And then Force0ne overtook me and a bunch of guys there, and then I was behind Force0ne, and I basically followed them through the pack. And then on the last lap, because my teammate Chemical was on the bubble, I just let Chemical back through and just let him go, just because it's whatever. I was already out.
Right.
The only way I would have made it into the finals is if I came like first in that race.
Gotcha.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's a tough
break,
though.
Points. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen though, like, you know what I mean. We've seen in the Wednesday showdowns. You've had the pace to. You've had the pace to compete with those top guys, and especially when you've had even more time to practice. And it's like you can do it, and it's tough to see when stuff like that happens or when you get set back and we don't get to see your full potential and stuff like that. I mean, that's got to be tough as well, not even being able to make the finals.
Yeah, it's always frustrating when you know that you've got more to give. I'm sure anyone's in that situation would feel frustrated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm coming to a point now where I've been doing this for so long. Like my first professional competition was in 2007. So
it's crazy.
I've experienced quite a lot, and I think this Forza RC is just getting to a point where you've got to put in too much time and too much effort to compete. I think it's not worth it when your entire competition can be decided by some marshal who doesn't really care whether what happens to you and whether you win.
He doesn't want to penalize people.
Exactly.
No, totally.
So on a little bit of a lighter note here, what you're going to London. Where are you starting in mid pack? I think.
I'd be starting in 8th place, but I think it's 8th place, but I can't actually attend the London event.
Oh, you can't attend London?
No.
That's news to, I think, everybody.
Yeah. I think a few people know, but I haven't really posted it anywhere.
Mm.
But
Not
my
common knowledge just yet.
girlfriend, yeah, my
Yeah,
girlfriend, or
yeah.
actually my fiance now. I've just proposed to her.
Oh,
Um,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
She's taken me away to New York for just under a week
Oh,
to celebrate my 30th birthday.
coming out to
So
my country.
yeah.
But
Sounds like that's a fair enough reason not to go to London.
yeah.
But you know, you can still answer this question though. So, you know, heading into London, say, you know, if you were going to go, who would be like your biggest rival, and who would you want to, like, you know, beat the most? I mean, I know when you were doing the hot lap challenge, you just wanted to beat Box, but you know, who's a rival of yours that you really want to take on?
I really like competing against Chemical. You know, we're in the same team. We've been playing Forza since Forza 2. We've always been, you know, there or thereabouts with each other. That's like a friendly rivalry. I think if
That's an OG rivalry right there.
It is actually.
if I was to pick a more salty rivalry, it'd be Force0ne. You know, I do get on with Dan. I do get on with, you know, in Mexico. I apologized to him after I lost my shit, you know, and I went off the rails, like. But I apologized to him. I haven't got a problem with him. But you know, if I could beat him in London, that'd feel good.
Makes sense, yeah. You know, I've been keeping an eye on Chemical as well. I like to keep an eye on the guys that kind of fly under the radar.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been watching Chemical as well. In the last 2 weeks of the RC season, I noticed, you know, he was like you. He was able to keep pace with some of those top guys when he had time to really put into it. And you know, he's very quick, and I think that he's someone that a lot of people overlook. And you know, if he makes the finals, you know, these guys better watch out, because he's not too far off at all.
Yeah, Chemical's good enough to beat anyone. I mean, we are quite close with Box. We've been, you know, Box used to be in TPR, and we practice with Box quite a bit. And Chemical can beat Box in practice sessions all day long. He can do that no problem. But then in the Forza RC, it comes down to where you've qualified sometimes and getting that bit of extra luck. And it just hasn't gone Chemical's way. He's been super unlucky so far. But I'm hoping that'll change for him in London. He's got the home field advantage then.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Let's hope he does better. Like I'd like to see some new names at the top. You know, I think everyone's sick of seeing Laige and Lightning running first and second.
Well, Lightning hasn't been running first and second.
No, not recently.
So don't even say that, because Lightning has not been doing that. No.
Not recently, but like in the other Forza RCs, it's just been two guys. I say, hey, who's gonna win? It's either one of these two guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, RoadRunner shook it up, and then it's kind of all just sort of evened out. I think gone more of a way of competitiveness and not just being able to sit there and lap until you're happy with your lap.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, definitely some good stuff there. You know, I think that you actually, you know, shed a lot of light on a lot of things that people have been saying for a while, and you know, you're just backing it up even further with Forza and the way that, you know, things are structured and the way that they're doing things. You know, it's definitely some good stuff, man. So, well, best of luck in you know, New York City, and enjoy your time
best
off.
of luck. I'm sure he has no idea what he's doing.
Hey man, you never know. It's a big city. What can I say? I don't live too far from you, but yeah, no, man, we appreciate you taking the time to come on to the show, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thanks very much for having me. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Thanks, Davey.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Definitely some good stuff there, you know. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well, you know, you said Lightning, you know, tired of Lightning being on top, you know. That's funny.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that he didn't do so well just briefly, but I just, you know, he's always one that the commentators speak highly of.
Well, it's because he won New York a couple years ago, and that's why he's always been renowned as one of the top guys. And you know, I think that you said that he was your underperformer for Mexico City.
That's correct. I really think he underperformed for Mexico City. Rarely saw him at the pointy end of the field. Well, not so much the pointy end, but like on the top 3 spots, he kind of got pushed out. There in, I think it was Seattle that he was running right next to Laige, and then this round he's sort of tapered off, I guess.
Yeah, and he wasn't able to. You could see in the first race as well. He was kind of falling off the pace of the top 3. He was sort of falling back. Then those guys started to get side by side. He could reel him back in for sure, but I mean that happens with everyone. Just couldn't quite make the overtakes he needed to make, and then he started slipping back in the second race in the finals, and I mean that was it. He was a midfielder.
It really wasn't the lightning that I'm used to seeing. It's a bit interesting. I wonder if something's bothering him, like something personal, and he just hasn't been able to put it into practice, or maybe he's distracted, or maybe he can't focus. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting old or anything like that.
No.
Not when Daveyskills is still running good.
I know, 10 years in, man. But
he's still going.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, that he hasn't been able to sort of get that top step of the podium yet, and as my oven is making noise. But
that's a fantastic noise.
I know, right?
It's brilliant.
My underperformer was actually Zoom, and here's why. Because you guys watched the first race. Here's a clip at the beginning. Started 5th, number 1 in the world, and after this clip happened here, he was nowhere to be found. He didn't make any ground up through the field, maybe a couple positions, but no ground whatsoever. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see him, race with the top guys at all, which would have been nice. But he also didn't make any kind of recovery, and
that's right.
For being ranked number 1 in the world and to underperform to such an extent to where he can't even come back up through the field, that's a little bit alarming to me. And that's also, speaks volumes to the way that Forza's doing their ranking system. Because if you have a number 1 in the world that's not, oh my goodness, that's so annoying. If you have a number 1 in the
winning.
world,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's not even competing up front.
Yeah, and I mean, he does seem to race very well at some points, and has really amazing pace. But he made a couple of errors. I think he made an error there on Spa, and I think he's got a bit of Laige syndrome. Everyone talks about Laige not being able to cut through the pack, and I think that's a little bit to do with Zoom. And I wonder if that's because he's a very polite and clean driver. Like, I haven't seen him ever be involved in too many incidents. Maybe that's because he's at the front all the time. I'm not too sure. But he doesn't seem to be able to cut through traffic like everybody else sort of seems to be able to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's not assertive enough. Maybe he's too polite. I don't know.
It's possible. And guys, we got RoadRunner coming on here in about 10 minutes as well. But, I would think, I would agree. And, we see, it could also be experience in the pack as well. Because you look at Laige, he's not able to come through the field. I think he's gotten better this season at coming through the field with all the reverse strips. But he's still not he still can't go wheel to wheel like Lightning can, and like RoadRunner can. And like RoadRunner is probably one of the best at coming through the field. And I haven't seen that from Zoom yet, and that's the one thing that's alarming. Is in LATAM he's always out front, he's always leading, but he's never in the pack, so he doesn't get to experience. You know what I mean?
And they say that, he has that 1 lap pace. So everybody knows that he's quick. That's irrefutable. He's one of the quickest in the game.
Yeah.
And that's why he's ranked 1. But he's not ranked 1 for no reason. He can't be slow.
Well, yeah, no, that's not what we're saying.
No. But as you say, I think it's experience, and like as you say, I think it's experience in the pack. Like, everybody else gets to race fairly competitively with guys that are similar pace to them, all through the Wednesday show, or not through the Wednesday showdowns, but the Wednesday showdown qualifiers, etc., etc. And they're constantly going door to door with each other. But with Zoom in the LATAM region, it's not as competitive. I don't know who he's racing there. I mean, you got TX3. I think TX3 Wesley's got in LATAM. Yeah, and then you got like the FRF guys.
And that's it.
Is that right?
Yeah,
FRF,
and that's it.
And they're a fair bit off the pace of Zoom. Like, Zoom's got quite a bit more pace than they do. Whether it be like a second and a half or half a second, it's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Zoom is the only finalist finalist driver for LATAM.
From LATAM. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean. So it's like I'm saying, if you're number 1, you should at least have the pace to compete with guys like Box and Laige, even if you're not winning. And I've yet to see that from him. Even in Seattle, he did get wrecked with RoadRunner. Him and RoadRunner had that incident at Spa, but like, it was difficult for me to say, okay, he's number one, and he should be overperforming a little bit more than he is now, and he should be competing.
I think it just comes down to experience. I mean, they say in racing, everything's lap time. Everything's time. Seat time, seat time, seat time. And if you don't have the seat time racing against guys of a similar pace to you, you're just gonna fall off.
That makes sense. And then when you're racing against guys in LATAM, you're racing against guys that are in LATAM. He doesn't get that experience to race against guys like that. And is that a product of being on a team by yourself, like Sauber? Like, you know what I mean?
It's possible, but I'd say that he would surely practice with some guys from JSR still, or maybe even TX3.
TX3,
who knows? Yeah.
I would hope, yeah. So, it's interesting. Who was your overperformer? I know who my overperformer was because we've already talked to him today, but who is your overperformer in
Overperformer?
Yeah.
I'd say Box. Surprised me a little bit because all through the Wednesday showdowns...
He did. You are right, yes. And you and I have talked...
All through the Wednesday showdowns, you saw Box sort of... he's a little bit off the pace of Laige. If Laige got out in front, it was kind of like Box was going away. He fell off. But during Mexico City, he was right there with him, putting lap down and lap down right next to him. Being able to rein Laige back in, throwing moves on Laige and stuff like that. You didn't really see that in the Wednesday showdowns. And I wonder if that's a product of like the competition as well. Like, with the stakes being a bit higher, is he just more willing to throw that risky move rather than just, I'm trying to qualify. If I come second, it's okay.
Yeah, and I thought it was surprising when they dropped the green flag and he was up top, leading the race, absolute blazing pace. Like that really surprised me because we hadn't seen that pace from him all season, and then all of a sudden, in the finals, it's like he's there. Like I thought Laige was going to clean this up, to be honest, and Box ended up taking it to him. And
Laige looked like he had a good run, and then Box really did take it to him, and it was very close there. If not for some penalty misgivings, we might have seen a different champion.
That's very true. Very true. Mine, I'm sure you probably guys already know. Mine is Forza 1, obviously. I was watching it through. Hey, what can I say, man? He was my overperformer. What can I say? Listen. If Chemical had made the finals, I probably would say Chemical because I bet you he would have made it into the he probably would have made it into the mid pack and been able to do some damage. But he didn't, unfortunately. But Forza 1 fighting through the field, adversity twice, coming back all the way through the field. I think that how can that not be an overperformer? And someone else I want to point out was Virus. Absolutely, just consistent every race, just consistently up front, finishing 5th overall. He was brilliant.
Yeah, Virus is a really overlooked racer. I think people like to quickly skip over Virus, but he's right there. I think he's just off, just outside the bubble of the top 5 guys. But his consistency is second to none.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. So he's definitely a really consistent driver. So we got RoadRunner coming on here in just a few minutes, guys. If you missed it earlier, we'll show it to you guys again. We got our series coming up as well that we are going to be commentating and putting on with Delta Online Racing. So those of you who have seen it before, you can grab some popcorn right now. But here's a video of you guys who haven't seen it yet. This is the series that we're putting on with the Lamborghini Gallardo Super Trofeo.
Trying to figure it out. Nothing here to say, just a kill out. Trying to cause it's me, trying to figure it out. Nothing for you to do, I'm stuck on you. I'm still trying to figure it out. Can't hardly sleep, but it's my dreams. I'm just kidding, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, so guys, if you want to get involved, link is in the description. You guys can check it out at Delta Online Racing. We got RoadRunner here coming on in just a second, but definitely I have people shouting in my background again. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, why not? So RoadRunner's joining us now. How's it going, man?
It's going alright, thank you very much.
Great to have you on this show.
It's great to be here.
Sweet. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Great job in Mexico City, 10th overall. Not where you normally are. Not where we're used to seeing you up on the podium.
It all went downhill from the quarterfinals or group stage. I had a really quarterfinals was awful. My pace was off. I have no idea what was up with me. And then semi-finals, my pace was great. But unfortunately, I had an incident in turn 1 which lost me about 2 or 3 places, and then had to fight my way back up. Got myself back into 3rd, and then it just started going more and more downhill with collisions happening front, and then I kept being a part of them because I was always on like the outside, and someone would go into me, and then I'd lose another position. And then finals just wasn't in a strong position at all.
Yeah, you kind of were stuck in that mid-pack sort, and consistent finishes, right? A couple 6th places, right?
2 8ths, 7th, and a 6th, which somehow equals 10th.
Yeah.
I think that reverse grid probably killed you. All the guys who were behind you probably got, double the amount of points or whatever it was. But, which sucks. But, we're used to seeing you up front, and it was quite unusual to see you there. And I thought that, maybe going in, you might have been able to actually, take it. And, Seattle, you were really close to even winning the whole thing as well. Really close as well.
One of my strongest points is being able to pass people, but unfortunately, when I was trying to pass, I made my way up in the Honda, and I got to probably the most difficult person to pass in the entire Forza community, and that's Virus.
Really?
Virus is he's very strong with his defending. Like, he's not dirty. He's not dirty. He's just very, very strong with his defending. And when I was trying to get past him, unfortunately, I just couldn't get away past him, and Forza0ne managed to dip his way around the inside. And then as soon as Forza0ne got past me, Virus let Forza0ne pass, and that's how Forza0ne got away, basically.
That's the first I've heard of that. Like, we don't hear a lot of Virus because he's a very consistent driver. He's a very,
we were just saying that,
Yeah, we were just saying that he's very consistent. He's always, he's kind of a midfielder. He's never had like that ultimate pace to compete with Box and Laige, but he's also not a slow, by any means slow. That's the first I've heard of someone saying that, he's really, or giving us any in-depth analysis on him, because he seems very methodical, very quiet, and, we don't really know a lot about him, and that's quite interesting that it's very difficult to pass him.
He doesn't really move up that much, but if he's in a good position, he's very good at sticking in that position.
Right.
That's awesome. So, and I guess it showed, because he was able to hold consistent, like, 5th place finishes in the finals as well.
Apart from the last race.
Apart from the last race,
one of the best passes,
Yeah, apart from the last race, he cut the first corner and passed 4 people and didn't get a penalty.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that. I don't think they showed that on stream.
They don't have that on stream.
One of the most annoying things they do in the Forza RC stream is the delayed start. So we see you already rolling instead of the launch and, the green light, as it were.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
We jump into the race late. Even in when you're spectating, you jump into the race late because
like
they don't have a
5
grid
seconds
walk.
into it.
They don't have a grid walk in the game either. So you can't grid walk and watch the race. Like, I think that's part of the issue as well. But
that's right.
I wish they had a grid walk like Forza 6, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. But yeah, that's one of the frustrating things. But so would you say that Virus is a rival of yours, or do you have like a really big rival that you really want to beat like really badly?
I personally don't really have any big rivals. I always say to people that, for example, Melish goes around asking questions, who's your biggest rival, to help towards getting data for the Forza RC. And I hate putting an opponent because, to me, my biggest contender is myself. Not sounding big-headed, because it's usually me that is the one that's messing up. Because
I
it's
think
myself
most
that's
people can
messing
agree
up.
with it. That your biggest opponent is always yourself. That's true in a lot of things.
But when it comes to rivals, the only person I would really say is Lightning, because me and him just we're the ones who spend the most time practicing with each other.
Fair enough.
So that would lead into my next question: is what's you're obviously very close with Lightning. His performances have been slipping a little bit, and Jason and I were just talking about how he's kind of slipping from that top tier contender from like with like Laige and Box and Mitch to kind of slipping into the top of the midfielder and not really contending for those wins in the last couple of LAN events. And he won New York City, but is he slipping? Is he losing pace? Is that something that you're observing, or are we crazy over here?
I would personally say he's not losing any pace. The problem is the standards of driving. A person myself, even Lightning himself, we don't do well in aggressive drivers around us. Like, we always usually fall behind because that tap just then loses our focus, and when that tap loses our focus, we then start dropping positions, and that's what's happening with Lightning. He was being used as a brake and a wall in order for people to pass, and then when that starts happening, you start losing your focus, you start losing your rhythm, and when you start losing that rhythm,
offline,
you start falling further and further behind.
No, I understand. Okay, so you just got to be unlucky there with the aggressive field and aggressive tactics.
Yeah, if this was Seattle, we would have seen about 15 penalties in that final. I would say 10 to 15 penalties.
Interesting.
Really? So you thought that the marshalling was different?
The marshalling was incredibly different.
I would have said that too. Yeah.
Yeah, the leniency was just, it was a joke. I'll give you an example. Lightning purposely, barged someone out of the way, took him out to get past, and he did it on purpose to test how bad the stewards were, and he didn't get a penalty. And even he was annoyed that he didn't get a penalty himself, because he was just testing it to see what would happen. Didn't get a penalty.
Really? Wow.
Interesting. I think we're going back to what we said with Daveyskills, and they need to have that inbuilt game, black and white. This is a penalty. This isn't a penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it's not ready in the game, they should have live marshalling like they do in other esports and in real life.
Yeah.
That to be fair, in GT Sport, I think it's an inbuilt system, and then they have an overrides. They investigate it and then override if it's
That's right. Okay, you have more knowledge on the subject than I do. But like, if you watch that tweet that Force0ne put out of that video, it was you could see that it would say under investigation. And normally on GT Sport, if you watch F4 Super GT, he's got a bunch of videos about people just having flashing penalties up on their gamer tags for no reason.
There's a 5-second penalty for a very small incident.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That means just any incident you want to avoid, and that promotes very fair racing. But I think the problem with Forza right now is if you had clean racing, you wouldn't see any passes because there's no way to get. I mean, it'd be really hard to make a pass, because there's no draft, so there's no way to build that momentum on somebody in front of you.
There is draft in the game. Unfortunately, it's very, very, very broken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's one thing I'll point out is, in order for you to have a penalty system, you have to make the streams longer. Now, with the streams being longer, there's a lot of people who complain with the fact that, it's taking too long to take adjudication into account, and because of this, it's either there's no adjudication and we just talk about it after the race, which will not work because you can literally just take someone out and just next race you're starting up front, so you can't have that. And the other point is, if you're gonna adjudicate during each of the races, you need to have the marshals need to have an understanding of Forza and the way racing is, not in real life but in Forza as well. So because of that, because of that lack of being able to have that time to talk about what actually happened in an incident, you have to rely upon the marshals. And if you can't rely upon the marshals, you unfortunately aren't going to have a good weekend.
Yeah,
that's correct.
But yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing, and I hope that with the updates that they're coming out with, that they will hopefully have some kind of their penalty system in place, because, and I hope it works. I hope it works where it's not seemingly broken, because if having something that's broken is just as bad as not having it at all. And
I don't know. I would disagree. I like GT Sports penalty system isn't perfect, and I would say that it's borderline broken. But it still works.
But it still works, yeah. But I'm saying, like, you know what I mean. If say they have GT Sports, like literally to the T GT Sports penalty system, is that sufficient enough for, say, a LAN event?
Yeah.
As opposed to the marshals. You think so?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I think it would deter anybody because it's instant. It's instant penalties. So if you pass somebody and you make rough contact, like, you know, as you say, like, you know, if you're lightning and you just push somebody wide, it'll go under investigation and you'll get a slowdown penalty and you'll be forced to give that position back, if not lose a few more at the same time.
What about ones that aren't necessarily, like, what about the wrongdoing one, or the ones that, like, you know how, like, have you ever seen a freaking Super GT video where he gets punted and then he gets a penalty? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I have seen that, and then, you know, that's because he's just racing in like a hopper essentially. Like, that's the GT Sport hopper. So, like, you get rammed, and that's, you know, the penalty system gets confused, sure, but, you know, you get rammed in that. Whereas we don't really see any, like, hard rams in Forza RC. You know, you're not seeing people just, I mean, yes, dive bombs, but it's not like you can punch somebody into a wall.
True, yeah. Okay. It's quite interesting. You know, they do have things that they need to work on, and it's annoying that, you know, we have to leave it up to the marshals. Like, especially you had to leave, like RoadRunner said, you had to leave it up to the marshals. And even in this weekend, you had to leave it up to the marshals for the Laige box incident and then box dive bombing Zoom. Like, still, I still can't comprehend how that's not a penalty, like what Laige did. Like, it's just not, like, registering in my head. But we've gone over that.
Yeah, someone's got to explain how it's not a penalty, and then I'd be okay, maybe. I mean, depending on the explanation. But it's something they need to look at. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And RoadRunner,
also, if you listen to Gfinity, please have a look at your marshalling system or whatever. But yeah. Yeah.
What I was gonna say was, RoadRunner, have you seen? I don't know if you've watched it, but I watched the stream of the Forza Monthly, and they talked about how on October 10th, which is in 3 days, they're gonna have a Gfinity marshal come on and talk about the criteria of penalties for London. I don't know if they're going to touch on what happened with Box and Laige, but apparently they will be clarifying what is a penalty and what isn't a penalty, and I'm really curious to see what they say.
Yeah, I want to see what that.
And I'd love to know who they are. I'd love to know who they are.
Yeah.
There is no
mysterious marshals.
Yeah, there is no specific marshals. They are supposedly supposed to have new marshals every live event.
That doesn't seem
okay.
That doesn't seem like proactive to making consistent penalties a thing, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they can form bias. Maybe their argument is they can form biases.
Yeah, but that's why you pick people that don't form biases.
Oh, yeah, that's easier said than done, bud.
Yeah, I get that, but you get referees and you get real-life marshals in racing all the time that fairly unbiased and deliver pretty harsh penalties.
True, but there are also consequences. Like Daveyskills was saying, like, they're getting paid and they get free trips and stuff like that without consequences, even if they make the wrong decision.
Yeah, but, you know, as long as they make mostly correct decisions, like the occasional one, sure, but, you know, as RoadRunner said, if Lightning's punting people off and not getting penalized, and RoadRunner, not RoadRunner, and Laige is throwing dive bombs and crashing half the field and not getting penalties, and Force0ne's crashing Daveyskills and not getting penalties, it just seems like that's too frequent.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It needs fixing. I would agree.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that after this non-penalty that we're seeing right now, that there's something that's not quite right.
That's your champion right there. That's your champion throwing just a dive bomb and wrecking 4 people.
That's like some Hopper Lobby level shit. Yeah.
That's unfortunately where the FRC is currently at, because they're not listening to the community in terms of being able to fix it. They're using, I'll give you an example, they're using statistics in order to create this championship that they want to create in the future. And the problem with using statistics is numbers don't lie, but they don't tell what happened in order for that statistics to actually occur. So I can make my way up through a pack, and I always make my way up through a pack pretty easily. In 2 laps, I usually make about 5 positions. However, once I made up those positions, I always get taken out. Something always happens to me. I always somehow get taken out by someone. And because of this, statistics actually dictate that I'm one of the worst at making my way through the pack.
Yeah, and I think anybody would disagree with that statement. So
you're right. Yeah, we just talked about that too.
Yeah.
We just talked about how you were one of the best guys at coming through the field and from the back of the pack and coming, and making up positions, which is apparently, according to you, it doesn't reflect on the stats. But
according to statistics, yeah. It's weird. And another thing is, statistics apparently say that I'm one of the best in front wheel drives, which I can safely say.
I don't think that's accurate at all.
100% not true. And statistics also say that Mitch is one of the best in 4-wheel drives. Pretty sure it's front-wheel drives. He's one of the best, definitely in the community.
In the world, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Mitch and Force0ne in the first race were the fastest drivers in the track in the finals. Were the 2 fastest drivers on the track. And I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I was surprised.
In terms of pace, in practice, in practice, I ran a 38.3, which was the current number 1 in terms of everyone practicing. And that was literally just before we raced. I ran a 38.3, so my pace was actually in 1.2, but unfortunately I couldn't pass virus, so I couldn't extract any of that pace at all.
Oh, man,
there you go. And that's what I said about that. It's like people get caught up in battles and they can't show their pace mid-race. But yeah.
Yeah, same to GTR. I do think I was the fastest in that GTR, because I think I ran the 2nd fastest lap while battling with virus. And again, I was battling virus, and I couldn't pass.
You've been competing in Forza professionally for a while. Do you think at this point it should be a lot better? It should be a lot smoother, or do you think that we're at where we're at because of neglect, or do you think that they've been making slow improvements over time, and this is just where we're at?
Yeah, Le Mans was a totally different FRC. Le Mans was literally everything in the moment, so anything could have happened. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, that's live. That's a live event. It's all in the moment." It isn't. A lot of it is practice. But when you have an event that's 24 hours like Le Mans was, it literally is. Anything can happen. But when they went to Seattle, they massively, and I mean massively, improved. And it was much better. Marshalling was still a bit 50-50. I got a penalty, which I still got on today, and a lot of people hate the fact that I got on today. It's the only penalty I've ever had at an FRC. And I talked to them about it, and they literally said to me, "I don't know why you got it."
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Jeez, that's weird.
Interesting.
And then sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. No, I was gonna say, it's like you're one of the best passers in the league, and you have the least amount of penalties, which is interesting.
Well, that's
Yeah,
because
So it
all
can
he's
be
doing is
done,
racing,
basically.
though.
Yeah,
That's because all he's doing is
absolutely,
racing. Yeah.
absolutely. Everybody can agree with that you're one of the best to go door to door with. Like, it's very hard to not let you pass.
Yeah, I was only. I think there's only 2 times where I was ever overly aggressive, but that overly aggressiveness was caused because the other driver decided to punt me wide, so I decided the next corner to punt them off. Like
Fair
Laige,
play.
second corner, clips Maria, went down the inside, was going to drive away. I managed to stick around the outside. As soon as we got to the 4th corner, I just knocked him off because I'm not having someone pass me while hitting me to get past. I just think it's completely disgusting.
Oh, that was on Nürburgring GP in the rain in the 918. Yeah, they were showing that. Blaze throwing it up and pushing you wide, and I was like, oh, Roadrunner's not going to like that. And, you know, like, have you seen the clip with Zoom and Box just moving him out of the way in turn 1?
Yep. And I think, remember correctly, Box got a penalty for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I were him, I would have done what you did to Laige. Literally, I would have waited and I would have just moved him out of the way and gone right back by. Zoom didn't do anything to him.
Yeah, it depends. You should only really make the move if you have the opportunity to make the move. For example, in that Porsche, I managed to actually stick around the outside going side by side. And then when we were going for the 4th corner, he tried to cut me off to force me to hit into the wall or crash, one or the other. So I just kept in the throttle and made sure that he went off the track. And if you got the opportunity going side by side, I'd only do it if they did it back. Like if they did it, just do it back.
Yeah, give as good as you get, as they say.
Yeah, eye for
eye. I hate the mentality of having to do it back.
Yeah.
But if the marshals aren't going to do anything about it, you have to take it into your own hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Those are vigilante mentality coming out there.
You can't rely on the marshals either, as well. Like we were saying earlier, you can't rely on them to. So self-adjudicate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that just brings it back to like a harsh penalty system, something akin to the GT Sport or the iRacing system, where any kind of contact is very is punished. So, would you be for a very strict penalty system in Forza?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like leniency in terms of track cutting, because I don't know if you watched Silverstone in that Bentley, but Laige and Box were full on corner cutting and still didn't get a penalty for that.
Oh yeah, that's another issue, but they were.
Yeah, and like I could see like really good racing happens when people are forced to obey the rules as well. Because if you cop a slowdown penalty for cutting the track, you lose the advantage. And if the person behind you is not cutting, obviously you're just going to drive away from them. You're going to cut. So
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't want a penalty system in a racing game, no matter how harsh it was.
Yeah, there is a very fine line, very fine line though, and it all depends on whether you gained. And I've cut many corners in an FRC race, and yes, I cut it. Should I get a penalty? All depends on whether I gained, and that's the biggest question. Can a penalty system that's not controlled by human interaction, it's all computerized, can that dictate whether you gained or not? Which it can in terms of checking out the gap, but that gap can extrapolate depending upon where you're on the track. If you're going onto a straight, that gap's just going to keep increasing and increasing, and whether it can distinguish anything like that, it would have to be seen until they actually implement it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But
it's difficult to say how you could decide whether or not you gain from a cut or not. Because I've cut sometimes and it's definitely been slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, you have to have a way to, like, the other thing is if everybody's doing it though, then no one's gaining. So like, how do you marshal that?
Well, then you go back to the rule of 4 tires on the track. 4 tires
there you go.
inside the white lines.
Yeah.
So if you're if you're going 4 out, that's a penalty, whether or not you gained or not.
Yeah. If everyone's cutting, you have to penalise no matter what. If everyone gets a 5-second penalty, it may look really, really stupid, but it has to be done.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like setting the example. Like, you know, you punish somebody or fire somebody at a job to say like, hey, I'm not messing around here. It's kind of the same thing. Is okay, if everybody's cutting, give everybody a penalty and be like, stop cutting, guys. Like through Maggots and Beckett's in that the second race on Silverstone, dude, everybody, or it was the third race. Everybody, or at least Laige and Box were pretty bad. Like they were really bad. They were going right over the curbs, 4 tires through there.
I think it does look bad for the series, that very obvious thing. Yeah, you're right, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Kicker, from what you were saying before. It does look bad when you have the guys that are coming first and second and putting on podium positions, making some really interesting racing moves, like cutting corners and ramming people and etc. It does look a little awkward.
Yeah. So you need some way to regulate it. And like I said, it doesn't look good. Totally. Like the other thing was, you know, you guys probably can't relate to this, but I was watching the NASCAR race last week, and they were all hyping up this Roval track where it's an oval and then an indoor and then an infield, and no one ever raced on it before, and they were all hyping it up because like it was going to be chaotic. Well, it doesn't look good for NASCAR if all the drivers are wrecking. Like, yeah, it's exciting on TV, but it doesn't look good if everybody's crashing, wrecking, and they don't look like they know what they're doing.
They don't look like professional drivers.
This is the pinnacle of racing and motorsport, and you've got these guys looking like rookies at your local dirt track. Like, it just looks dumb.
And that's one of the biggest problems. What I was on about statistics. Statistics apparently say they want this crashing. But then, if statistics dictate that, does that mean you should follow it? You know?
Yeah.
They seem to be following the route whichever gives them the most views they want. Well, if you want the most views, then get every FRC driver up there naked.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say porn. That'll get the most views.
If that's what they want is the views, by all means, do that.
Yeah. Only have really hot
any respect.
Races. That's it. 100% views. You get the whole world watching.
Yeah, but this thing, you don't gain any respect for purely going off what statistics say. You go off what the community and the drivers say, and if the community in Forza says they want it a certain way, and they will watch it, you do that. You don't go, oh, we've got
statistics saying otherwise. Yeah,
we got 2,000 people from COD watching this, and they all want crashing because it's exciting. Well, they're from COD. They like destruction. They like all the shooting and killing, and Forza's the opposite.
They don't understand the intricacies of like hard racing.
Yeah.
So they're not going to enjoy like a very clean race. Like it's hard to understand, and I get that, but
there's a certain appeal. There's a certain appeal to a certain demographic, and it's not. That's not it.
No, I know, but like, who do you want to appeal to? Do you just want as many views as you can, or like, this doesn't seem to make sense? Like, if you want to continue as a franchise, you need a player base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst part is they've got this front. They've got a front which says we're trying to improve the racecraft in online lobbies, but then at the same time they've got the FRC where they actually have control. They have control of the crashing, and they still got to fix that. So if they're expecting to fix the game, good luck.
I mean, they have the ability to fix the game, but they kind of, their focus seems a bit skewed. Like, honestly, the Forza, the Formula Drift cars, the drift suspension, the drag racing stuff, it all seems like a bit of a gimmick to just have the wider player base more interested in the game. And it's not really pushing people to be interested in the competitive side of things at all. So
unfortunately, it's gonna always be like that.
You think so?
Yeah. So this is an important thing that people should really know about: is Forza stopped advertising Forza itself as a sim for the Xbox after Forza 4. When Forza 5 came out, they stopped calling Forza a simulation racing game for the Xbox, and they started to branch out to wider variations of anything with an engine that's a car.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like they seem like they're in between on where they want to go with it.
They can't. Yeah, sorry.
They're gonna come out with force feedback settings for the wheel. Like, is that gonna make it more of a sim? Like, I said that on Twitter the other day. I literally responded to a tweet by our Twitter, and I said, like, look, these settings, if the wheel becomes competitive, it's gonna make Forza competitive on a sim racing level that's competitive with GT Sport and Project Cars. But if that's not the direction they want to go in, then why are they even bothering?
Yeah.
It seems like they're really undecided on what they want to be, so they really need to decide.
To me, it's Forza Motorsport, and if you aren't having that motorsport in the game, change it. Make it a new title.
They said that in the recent monthly update thing.
Yeah. They did say it's like we want to get back to motorsport or whatever, and they're like it's more other games are more motorsporty than us, and we're not.
I think they see the potential of like heading to more of a sim sort of setting because they have like a fairly good player base at the moment. I would say like it's quite large as far as sim racing titles go. I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It's a large fan base. However, it's a fan base which is slowly diminishing in terms of racecraft, and it's that kind of racecraft which is hurting the game.
So I think, go on. Sorry.
To me, since Horizon came out, I understand why they brought Horizon out, and it's a great marketing scheme in order for the Forza franchise to earn enough money to carry on its franchise for the future.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with bringing out Horizon, you've now got new people who have no idea of the level of racing that is needed on motorsport for you to actually be respectful and
competitive. Yeah.
Competitive, yeah. And with bringing Horizon into that, it's severely diminished that side of the game. You can bring it back, but in order to bring it back, you have to bring back the community features in the game. If you don't bring back the community features, you just can have everybody all for themselves. And because everyone's all for themselves, you're not going to fix it.
I think a good driver rating system and a good penalty system, and that'll be two huge steps in the right direction for Forza Motorsport to be more of a sim, more of a serious sim.
Driver racing systems, I've never personally liked them. They used to be another.
Like I was thinking, like the GT Sport system works quite well. I think the iRacing system works fairly well. I understand it's frustrating to have to like rank up and stuff like that, but
Forza did have a ranking system before. It used to have amateur, pro, champion, veteran, and I used to purposely put myself into one of the lowest. I used to put myself into pro, and then when I'd verse a veteran, I'd beat them, and just so then they wouldn't lose their ranking, they would dashboard.
That's so funny.
That's back in Forza 3 days.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and the current ranking system now with the Pinnacle leagues, with the leagues and the Pinnacle Pro, etc., it's junk. I'd raced the Pinnacle League a while ago, and it was just as messy as any Forza hopper I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, because they didn't do the ranking system correctly.
Yeah, it does not work whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that those two things would improve the game as far as like a racecraft standpoint.
Yeah, the drive system properly implemented in terms of racecraft, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Roadrunner's actually going to do his G2 Omega Hot Lap Challenge live for you guys. The other two guys, unfortunately, because they had, they were in the middle of the show and one of them had to catch a flight.
Yeah.
They did previous. They did a recording, so we'll be posting those videos for you guys later. But Roadrunner's going to do his live, and you guys are looking at the leaderboard now, so you guys can see Race Boys up at the top as I get the lobby set up here. A lot of moving parts today, so apologize for any delays.
Bit of a juggling act, plus some sweet internet connection issues.
Oh yeah, it was
some really helpful roommates. I mean, we've had it all today.
Oh yeah, we have. So let me just grab you guys into
I wonder what this tune is going to be like.
Oh, it's brilliant. I tuned it myself.
Uh-oh.
So just so you guys...
Tuner. Just ask Davey.
Oh, yeah. So earlier today we had Daveyskills run, and he hit a 102.2, which is 0.6 off of Raceboy's time. And then before the show, Force0ne did his lap, and he ran the top time. Force0ne ran a 101.4.
4.
Yes.
458 or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, 458, 438, something like that. So we have a new leader atop that leaderboard, for Veloce Force0ne with a 101.4. So be quite interesting to see if Roadrunner said he's got a couple tricks up his sleeve. So
and Force0ne said he was scared of you. So there's
yeah,
that.
there's that too.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure.
Well, that's going to be a rip.
Yeah.
Can't really hear the sound, oh well.
Don't throw up those race driver excuses right now. You can't hear it, guys.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Do
going
we
to
know if it's manual or manual with clutch?
I believe it's clutch.
I think it's forced on, dude.
Manual with clutch is not forced on.
Okay.
Only manual is forced on.
Why?
Well, you can choose either one, bud. It doesn't matter which one.
It's forced cockpit view? Oh my god.
He didn't know. He didn't know.
That's gonna be a fail.
I'm working on getting this hot lap challenge up at the moment. For some reason, it is not pulling up. Give me 1 second. I'm waiting for. Yeah, more issues. That's always good. I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
I'm waiting, Jason. I'm waiting for you to come into the lobby as well, bud.
No, don't worry about me. I'm not close by my Xbox. Just continue.
Get ready for a 1:10.
Oh,
I can watch from here. I can view the screen share that we've got going, so it's fine.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad you can.
1:10. You're gonna lose to I think it's Alan Walsh who's even beating that time.
Yeah, you want to lose to Alan Walsh?
If it wasn't forced cockpit, I would have a chance. Right, I'm gonna need to know where do I start.
All right, so you're just gonna go around on your first lap.
There.
Yeah, go around your first lap and stop by the entrance to the pit lane on your way around. Just get a feel for the car first.
Right. Well,
Jason's got birds chirping as well in his background.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. I understand. I've got roommates that shout profanity.
I can't do anything about that bird, except shoot it, but I'm not going to do that.
Alrighty.
oh, this is fun.
Oh, so you like the tune?
It interestingly oversteers way too much, so I can corner kill corner.
No clean lap is needed. Because we ran some with the old track limits where you could really cut the chicane here. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the only place we don't want you to do too much off-roading is just at the back here, where you are now, in fact, because you'd be ahead of this.
Yeah, just don't extend that back, like, really far.
So do you want me to stop at the line?
Stop at the entrance.
Near the pit entrance.
Pit entrance, yeah.
Side. Just at the start of the wall there. Obviously on the left-hand side of that wall, but yeah, near the pit entrance.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, my first flying lap would have been like a 105 probably.
Interesting. Took it a bit conservative there.
So where do we go?
Still managed to beat our times.
Alright,
Yeah.
So you're gonna pull up, keep going. There's some arrows in front of you there. See them on the ground?
Am I?
See those two triangles? Oops.
Yep.
Alright, you're gonna back up a little bit. You're gonna want to be right around. You're gonna want to line the front of your car, the front of your like dashboard, up with the front of the triangle.
The back of the triangle.
No, the front of the triangle, bud. Yeah, that's good right there where you're at. Should be where. Oh,
when you said the front, that's what happened. See, you said the front, and then he messed him up.
Oh,
so
sorry. Go back to where you were. The back of the Yeah, you're
Is that
gonna.
it?
No, you're gonna back up. Oh, wait.
There? There?
So the
There?
A
front.
little bit back.
Yeah,
There?
back a little further.
Back.
You should be able to see the triangle from cockpit view.
Yeah, you should be able to see just the bottom of the triangle from.
Yeah.
From cockpit. Yeah. You can. You can. Yep. There you go. That should be about right. That looks
Yeah.
good.
So.
Oh god.
Matt Gaming says that you're the king of potato and that you're gonna hit a 101 flat. So. When you're ready, you can do your first attempt.
You're going full Brit on us. Apparently you are. I assume so. Full Brit send.
Oh, there's
No
his
skill spin.
there's his cool little launch technique thing that he has, some kind of secret.
Seems to be working.
Wow, that looks really
That's a
good.
decent apex
That
right
looks
there.
great right there.
Reckons force cockpit's going to be a problem.
Are you running sim steering?
Rip. Oh my god.
I'm glad you like the tune.
It's so. Where am I going?
Oh,
Classic hot lapping phrases right here, guys.
that's an extend, but hey.
Yeah. As long as you try not to, that's fine.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of time doing it.
We're not Forza Marshal, we're Gfinity Marshals, so we won't give you a penalty. Oh, a slide at the end.
That was a
hard to keep the
fail.
power down through that left. It's hard to put the power down in this
His
car
definition
anywhere,
of a
really.
fail. His definition of a fail was a 102.9.
That was a big fail. Did you like the
Yo.
launch though?
Are you seeing
launch
that
was nice.
Andrew Berg guessed that it was going to be a 102.9?
That's it. Oh, he got it right on the money. Wow.
Props to Andrew Berg, mate. You've done well.
That's
well
flip. That's flip mode, bud.
done. Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's flip
wasn't aware
mode.
of that. Well done, flip mode. Thanks for watching the stream.
How
What if
many
they're
attempts
both
do I
right?
get this? Oh my gosh,
Three
it understeers.
three shots. So this is your next starting lap. And then
What
you'll
if
be
they're
up on
both
the-
right? What if his first attempt
Next
he
slide.
ran that 102.9 and then by the end he hits a 101 flat?
I mean, I'd be really impressed with that.
That would be hilarious. I would love that.
Force0ne did say there was half a second in it, so there's a possible for a 1 minute 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Or roughly.
Flip mode's like, I'll take that rig. Sorry, bud. Alright, it's gotta come back to the arrow.
Am I at it? Is that good?
Right there, yeah, right there. Let's a little forward.
I need my elite control
gotta-
to do this now because my finger's
You
twitching.
gotta back up, bud. You gotta back up a little bit.
That'll do.
Alright.
Oh, is it not enough?
Yeah, back up a little more.
That's
Because like
There.
he'll get a better, he'll have more time to
There.
build up speed. So.
There. That'll do.
Yeah, that'll do.
yeah, that's good.
Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, unfortunately, guessing the time doesn't win you a rig there, flip mode.
Yeah, sorry, bud. You have to win.
Feel
I mean-
free to come on the show and give it a crack.
Look, he's
smooth.
look at
Through
that.
this
Look at how close he was to
Look
the
at the-
wall. How
Dancing on the
brave.
brakes.
Very
Dancing on the
brave,
brakes.
dude.
You
Very
can't even
brave.
see that wall thanks to that mirror. So
I know.
Like, oh, a little bit of wall touch.
Smacking the wall. He's like, nah, we're good.
Just maximizing the track width there. That's all.
Oh my gosh, it just understeers. Where am I going?
Understeer,
Oh my
oversteer. It's the
God.
best car ever. Wow, he's going on an adventure.
And he's sliding. Oh no. Wow.
It's time to employ some of those tricks, RoadRunner.
The beginning of his lap looked really good.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Oh, another
Oh,
slide.
big slide. Oh, it's a,
Wow.
How was
Slidey
that
boy.
still a 202? Oh my gosh.
2028.
2028.
Oh,
I don't even know.
he almost
Don't
just
even know how.
crashed. How did
Oh.
that tire wall not take him out? What?
I don't know. Usually it spins you right around. Instantly.
I know.
It's like, oh, touch the tire wall, instant 360.
He's got one more attempt at it. One more. He's got to
One
shave
more.
off 1.4 seconds to beat Force0ne.
You gotta let Force0ne get that rig.
Sounds like it.
He doesn't need the rig, man. He's got a full sim arena from Veloce. You know what I mean? He can just go there anytime he wants. You got to take it from him.
See, if I did it like that, that'd be better. Oh my gosh, understeer.
Yeah, it's understeery because it's oversteery. Yeah, it's fun.
Right.
Alright, one more time. He's coming back down here to the starting spot.
I'm gonna see if he can wheel his way to a wheel.
Is that alright?
I make lane
Yeah,
puns.
that's good right there. Yep, right there.
Send it, full Brit. Thanks, Nate. Put it in there.
Nice! I died.
Oh,
Oh no!
I saw it coming.
Oh man!
Oh, that's it.
That's the price you pay. Oh wow!
It's done.
Let's see if I can still beat a 2 or 10. A 210 Chelsea.
Let's see if he can crash and box crash and win a 108. So, man.
Oh my god, and I actually do that corner this time.
Force0ne apparently doesn't have room for a rig in his dorm. So yeah.
That's funny.
Apparently he's gonna have to make it work because Roadrunner's giving it to him.
Oh man.
Lol.
1095, you did it.
Roadrunner's still fast. Roadrunner's still fast. You can hear the car, so that's why he's slow.
Oh,
that's why he
man.
crashed you.
Wow. 102.8. Alright, that puts you 4th, I believe, behind Daveyskills, Race Boy, and
tragic.
Force0ne. Oh man. What'd you think of the car?
Right.
The car's gotta be great, right?
Right, how about this? Right. I'll do another attempt, yeah? Another attempt, but it doesn't count, obviously. It doesn't count.
Right. You want to do another attempt? Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
Okay,
it counts.
Alright, that's fine.
Right, shall I back out?
Does everyone? I think everybody wants to see him give that a go. Yeah.
I would agree, yeah. I think everybody wants to see that. Alright. Yeah,
One
you can
more
go ahead
time.
and back out and we'll give it
Just
a go.
for the lulls.
Just for the lulls, yep.
Right. Rightio.
Alrighty.
This one's for the Brits.
Just gotta ready up.
And what I'll do, I'll teach you the drag racing launch.
Okay, I'd love to know the drag racing launch. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
So
Focus
this
through
is this drag racing launch is called brake boosting.
Brake boosting. Okay.
Yep.
Listen up, everybody.
So I'll do the lap.
I don't know. I think I may know.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Is it just where you like... Wrong. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Is it just where you hold the brake and the accelerator at the same time, Roadrunner?
I'll show you.
He's gonna show you.
Okay.
Don't-
Bring up the telemetry kicker so you can see what he's doing.
Oh yeah, well the telemetry is broken on this game, but yeah, I can pull up the telemetry for sure.
Yeah, just so we can get an idea though. Come on.
No, that's not telemetry. That's not what. Wait, yeah, it is.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that
that's
is
good.
telemetry. You're
Oh,
just
jeez.
thinking replay telemetry.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
Matt Gaming wants to see a 360 entry into turn 1 there, Roadrunner.
That will be after.
That would be
After.
Right. So this car is best being launched in second gear. Right.
Okay.
So to brake boost, you want to hold the brake pressure 10% or less. So if I put it down to, let's say 6, gradually feeding the throttle, then do full throttle. Do full throttle with 5%, I'm staying still, then lift off.
Wow.
Now,
How about that, guys?
Is that a glitch in the game, like, or is that like an actual application, like real life kind of thing? Like,
you can actually do it in real life, but you will literally fry your clutch.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Does it damage the car at full damage?
No.
Oh, interesting. Nice and realistic.
Oh, he's going wide again.
I'll dash those brake and throttle input. Matt Gaming, you could see how he had 10% then 5% brake, but I can pull up the other one as well. So you can see it next time when he pulls it up. But yeah.
So this is when RoadRunner doesn't go full potato.
Let's see what he puts in, guys.
0.4.
That was a good... Oh,
really? A 101.4? 101 point. That's faster than Force0ne. Oh, wow.
I guess he was right to be scared, but I guess, you know, that's...
I went potato. And there's a lot more time in that. I'd say there's a 15.9.
A 59 in that? Wow, really? Okay. But in in 3 laps, yeah, it's tough.
It's this corner. I keep braking too late. See, that's how I want to do it, like that. That was perfect.
That was perfect.
It was pretty good, yeah. A little bit of a slide.
Right, see if we can do 59.
From a standing start, I couldn't even get that on a rolling, like a flying lap. Special RoadRunner launch.
Yeah, you can barely see the brake on the
tenths.
bottom. Yeah, you can barely see the brake on the bottom there on the telemetry. Oops.
Don't do that.
I didn't. I didn't mean. Look at that. I'm surprised how brave you guys are when you get that close to the wall, not being able to see the apex because of that mirror.
That's probably why you crashed on that third and final lap.
Race Boy's gonna be so sad that Force0ne beat him as well.
Right? He was so keen for that rig.
I know, right?
Bit of an extend, but we'll let it go. I mean, it's anything. Just
yeah.
for the
It's not like it's a dive bomb and Nürburgring into a chicane.
Oh,
taking
that's
out
millimeter perfect on the entry to this corner.
Let's see what this lap is.
1 minute 0.7.
Wow, 1 minute 0.7. Jeez.
And there's another 3 attempts in that.
There's another 310. Jeez. Wow, that's crazy. I hope you guys are taking notes. You're providing evidence and studying material for our future guests to perfect their laps.
The only place.
They still have to drive the car.
This is where I can make up 3 attempts here. I can do it right when I'm not even actually on for a lap, which is really annoying.
No pressure. That's probably what it is.
Yeah. Right, let's go for that 1 minute 0.5.
We're watching the master at work here with potato cars.
Master Potato himself.
I'd like to see a race between him and Race Boy in these cars. And Force0ne. You three.
I'd like to see. I think we should take the whole G2 Mega Hot Lap Challenge board and just put them in a race with these cars.
All of them, all the guys on the Hot Lap Challenge. Just throw them into a race. Yeah, just for the lulz. Yeah. And they're all forced cockpit view as well, and they can't run any assist. Yeah. But they.
Oh, screwed it.
That's just a pipe dream.
But they could,
Oh, no. There goes that 50, there goes that 105. Well,
1 minute
1.5.
Oh, that's not bad. There, you get tip two wheels
That's
on
really good through there. That's 2 wheels over, but like that's perfect, really.
Yeah.
Those wobbles you get down the tunnel there, I don't understand how you don't spin out.
And it's still a 1 minute point 2. That's hilarious. Right.
Oh, 1 minute point 2.
Holy.
What in the?
Oh no, it's a 1 minute 1.2.
101.2.
1 minute
I was gonna
1.2.
say-
Oh, 1 minute
Right.
1.2. Okay.
I was about to freak out. I was like, what?
That all lost me
I
quite
was
a bit.
actually freaking out.
Yeah, there might be 59, but I think that'll be without cockpit.
Wow.
But yeah, there's definitely a 1 minute point 3.
Well, they only get 3 laps, so. Yeah.
But that launch would be about 2 attempts in the lap.
Wow, really? Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So.
Unless you're commando, then it would be your second.
Take notes, guys. Take notes.
Because I remember watching Commando and he was sliding everywhere. That would literally have saved him probably just under a second.
Really? Wow. Commando put down a decent lap time as well. Put down a 10 something. Commando put down a 104.3. Okay. So interesting. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. That was good fun. That was definitely enjoyable to watch and to see what
No worries.
Jason's stupid car and tune could do.
Yeah, that was an impressive masterclass, man. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Guys, next week we've got Veloce Racers coming on the show. So it should be fun. See if he can take it to his teammate and beat his time in the GT Omega Hot Lap Challenge.
Yeah, that'll be a nice little
Yeah.
personal rivalry between them. I got it.
So, yeah. If you guys want to follow us as well on Twitter, at OffTheTrackShow. RoadRunner is at Williams RR, I believe, RR1, I believe. So,
Yep.
Give him a follow as well. And we'll be watching for you in London, man. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
So hopefully
Yeah.
you get a little bit better result than what happened in Mexico. Hopefully you don't get stuck on
we'll
virus.
see. It's just virus. If virus is in front of me, just don't expect me to move on. That's plain and simple.
Kryptonite. The Roadrunner.
He is. He
The
is.
unstoppable force meets the immovable object. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty.
If you beat him in London, man, it'll make it that much sweeter though too.
Yeah, totally. What a
But,
rivalry.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So guys, we appreciate you all sticking through all of my technical difficulties on my end. We appreciate it. Definitely give us a shout on Twitter what you guys thought of the show today. Like I said, Veloce Racers next week. And we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you later.
See ya.